Hello, ActiveSage here on the Sage channel, and this week's update for Space Engineers has brought forth something fantastical. Well, no, it hasn't. It's going to be fantastical in the future. Right now, it's not so much, but I'm going to go over it anyway. Basically, it's scenarios. It's new scenarios. So first off, let's go ahead and click on New World. We're going to click on Custom World because I'm going to show you how to set up scenarios now. We're going to do Lone Survivor. We're going to disable autosave, and right here you can see this button I'm making, blink with a tooltip popping up. That is scenario edit mode. We're going to turn that on. Also, we're going to turn on creative mode because to test it properly, you need to be in creative mode. And we're going to leave it in offline. I don't think offline makes any difference. For my own sake, I'm going to turn on spectator, disable random encounters, disable cargo ships, and then down here at the bottom, this is a new feature that's been added as well. That's disable respawn ships. So we're going to go ahead and tick that as well. That'll prevent people from being able to respawn as their body or any of those respawn ships when they commit suicide or die. Okay, so we got that all set. Let's go ahead and load the world up, and let's go ahead and fade until the world's actually loaded up, shall we? That way we don't have to sit through load time. And there we are, loaded into this world, and yes, we did select the Lone Survival. It's the easiest one to show this on. Also, I'm going to also do some bug reporting in this video as well, and to do so, I'm going to go ahead and point out the fact that, as you can see, I'm setting up my hotbar down there at the bottom. I'm now going to go ahead and save and exit this world. Oh, well, not save as, just exit, please, and save. And now I'm going to load this world back up. So you saw me set up my hotbar. I'm going to load this world back up. And there we are, loaded back into the world, and you can see the hotbar down at the bottom has been reset, so that's a very unfortunate glitch. If we save this world now, it'll keep that stuff down there last time I checked, but unfortunately that first save and whatnot doesn't keep it. Even if we do save as, if we load up that new world that we just saved as, it'll not have that just set up in there. Anyway, I just thought I'd point that bug out because that is really starting to get on. Oh dear, I did that backwards. Really starting to get on my nerves. There we go. Had all that set up the way I like. Anyway, back to the actual another bug report first. Look at that, those are white. Looks like the devs forgot to do default colors on all this stuff before they saved their default start world, so those guys have some issues to them. Anyway, I'm going to set up a real quick race track right here, a foot race of sorts. So let's have this shoot out to here. Let's go ahead and have this just go up, shall we? And there we go, our super simple race track. We're going to remove our medbay over there. I'll explain that in a minute. So we're going to start here, and we're going to race our way down, across, and to here. And yeah, that seems pretty good, right? Well, few things we're going to want to tweak. First, we're going to need to set up a finishing point. Now, usually, how would you do this? Well, you wouldn't, frankly. But with a new scenario setup, we can go ahead and set winning and losing conditions. Now, right now, it's not the most robust thing, but I suspect in the future you'll be able to click down these, and instead of having, well, maybe you'll have reach GPS position, but instead of clicking this and just having it so it just displays a message, or all it does is dictate that you have now won, what it'll do is maybe when you click the setup button, you'll be able to access something like your K menu. So you click the setup button, it brings up this window, or at least this pull down here, and you'll be able to select any ship in the world and basically select a object in it and set up functions that way. Who knows, things like that. This isn't exactly a technological way of setting things up. It's a magical game world. Anyway, so let's go ahead and set up our winning place, but first we're going to need to make a GPS thing, so we're going to go to our GPS tab, top right there, new from current position, click on the name, and then click on the copy to clipboard button. And now we're going to go ahead and press that U button again, that's U for under or up, and we're going to say reach GPS button. We're going to click on that little star there, and we're going to type in U1 with a nice big exclamation mark, and we're going to click the paste GPS button. It's going to paste in those GPS, and then we're going to want to go ahead and set it for radius to 2. Now the radius is basically how big of an area around the GPS coordinate will count as reaching that zone. So we can set that up, and there we go, we're good to go. Now unfortunately another bug here is that if you press escape, it closes out the window. If you press U to open it back up, it's been cleared. So rather unfortunately, currently it gets cleared when you do that. Let's go ahead, let's set it actually to 4, and then once again U1, big old exclamation mark, click OK, and you have to actually click on the refresh button to save it. So now if I press U again, it's been saved. So there we go. Now we have our 1 spot, and because we're already there, it says U1. To clear that, it's not going to go away after time. You have to press U and click refresh. By the way, if you're not in creative, I think you can still access some of this, but you want to be in creative, that way you can keep setting these off. It's designed so it's supposed to only be able to be accessed in creative now that I think about it. So basically you get there, it says you've won in big green text, and voila, you are the winner. But let's say, how do we set a start point? Well, that's why we got the medical bay over there. I'll get to that in a minute. How do we set losers? Well, first off, we're going to go to you, lost condition. We're going to say someone won. So the second anybody wins, you'll get, sorry chat, you lost. So no special setups for this. Just as soon as somebody wins, it fires off of that thing. Remember, you have to click refresh to save that. And now it's been saved, so if we had someone else here, they could run over there, tag that thing, and we get a red message that says you lost. Now, how do we keep people on the track right here? Well, let's go ahead and hover over to about right here, I think. And let's go ahead and put ourselves another GPS coordinate, so new from position. And let's hover back away from it to right about, what do you say, here. So it's 8-ish meters there, and 8 meters right there. So now we can go ahead, go back to our U button, another lost condition. We could say someone reaches GPS condition, and we can go ahead and, oh dear, see, Sage went ahead and forgot to actually copy that. It would be kind of nice if they actually had a reach GPS condition, a GPS pull down, so you can actually choose different points just like you can with drones. But let's do a paste in GPS. And what did we say? 8 meters, I believe it was. And so now, so there you go. You left the course, you lose. And so now if we were to fly over that way, oh, why didn't that happen? Oh no, see, old habits and all that. I didn't click refresh. It's very annoying. So just make sure you actually click refresh when you leave this. So reach GPS position. Once again, setting all this up. Let's go ahead and set that to 8 once again. And sorry, you left the track. Big ol' exclamation mark. Click OK. And there we go. We got that save and click refresh. And now we can go ahead and fly over there. And there, sorry, you left the track, so you're disqualified. And now, even if we were to go ahead and run all the way over here, even though we've reached that point, it still says you've lost. Once again, that message stays there forever until you click refresh. Once you're in the normal world, you'll actually go ahead and that message will stay there forever as well. Let's go ahead and set a few more of these up really quickly. Alrighty, so I've gone ahead and set up quite a few of them now. If we go to GPS, you can see I have 6. If we hit U, you can see I have a whole bunch of them. Unfortunately, the list doesn't expand. This is as many as we can have. And now you can see that if we run along here and, oh, we tripped and fell off. Oh, okay, we're all right. Oh, he can jump back up. Oh, no, we got too close to that. Sorry, you left the track. So I could tweak these, bring them in a little bit more. Let's go ahead and once again, unfortunately, you have to do the refresh button. Again, if you jump off the track and go too far, it'll say you left it. Same with the inside. I even put one behind it so you can't fly around behind it, and one above it with its own little message. So if you were to fly up there, you'll see that, I bypassed oh no, no flying. And so once you were actually in-game, it would look a lot more like this. Unfortunately, you can't shift and select all these. You have to manually go through and disable all of them. Very annoying. There we go. So once you were actually in-game, it would look a lot more, oh no, I'm still in no flying zone, so I've instantly triggered it again. It would look a lot more like this, where you just see a get here message and a no flying message, so you think, okay, no flying, I'll stay on the track, and I'll run to the objective. Way, hey, I've won. So now that we've gone ahead and tested it out so we can know it works, now you know how to build the absolute basics of this. Please note, you could of course also have gone ahead, so let's just go ahead and put in, I think we'll remove some of the ones on the outer side here, shall we? And the way we're going to do this is, first on our GPS, we're going to turn back on some of the earlier ones. Is it 3? Yeah, we don't need 3 anymore. What we're going to go ahead and do is put a point in right here, near number 2 again. In fact, let's just use number 2. And we're going to say that if you get more than 19 meters away from point number 2, you'll lose. Actually, no, more than 26 meters away from number 2, you lose, because you don't want to be losing the second you win. The way we're going to set that up is we're actually going to go ahead and I got to find out which one of these used point number 3. It's a little hard. I set up that one, so it should be that one. So it'll be third one back. Just going off of memory here. So what we're going to do with this one is set it to leave game area, which is basically the opposite. And now it's like once you get away from this area, once you leave the radius, that's when you lose. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to go ahead and, it was point number 2, grab that point again. Bit annoying that you can't have all this stuff open. I think it's about time they started putting some serious time into redoing the UI. That way you could have this whole window open just in the small upper left-hand corner of your screen, while still having this window open at another corner, and basically they just sit there open, and you'll be able to switch between different things. So let's paste that in there. Left the area. And there we go. So now, once again, clicking refresh to save. So now, if we fly too far away, we should get the you left the area. Yep, there we go. And we could, of course, tighten that up a little bit, but we want to be a bit cautious. That way you're not spawning in trouble. Once again, we have to hit that U and refresh, but you get the gist of it. Now it's set up so that if you fly out too far this way, you left the area. I don't know of any way currently, unfortunately, to show... there's no like show GPS range area or anything here, so you just sort of have to feel it out and use distances from the actual thing. Anyway, now that we have all this set up, we're going to do U, we're going to do refresh to have it all reset, and now we're going to go ahead and save this world as Scenario 01, because it's stupid. And race. There we go. Scenario 01 race, and let's go ahead and exit this map. And you can see now we have Scenario 01 race right there. We're going to go to a new world, and then scenario. And what that's going to do is load up all the worlds we have right here. If you want to see blah 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 version 2, I'll have that video out probably, or it'll be unlisted and you'll just have to find a link to it. That was an earlier take of this where my sound files kept getting lost and my computer crashed once. But anyway, we have our Scenario 01 race right here. We're going to go ahead and set it to private. And you can now set how many people are there. If your world has a description, it'll be right here in the scroll area. You can also go ahead and see that the Space Race one has its description. Unfortunately, it looks like the text is getting cut off. It's not wrapping properly. And once we get in the game, you'll see that that stuff doesn't even carry over anyway. We could possibly have our own text if we published it. Because down at the bottom, you can see a publish button. Doesn't really... it works. But that would require me to open up the Steam overlay. I'm not going to do that. Also, you'll notice we have the remove button at the bottom left down there. That doesn't work. The edit button, you'd think that maybe would edit the description. It loads it up so you can edit it in the same way we were just editing it. Browse workshop button, same as always. Refresh button will refresh the list. Please note also I found a lovely little bug where if, let's say, we click on the Space Race thing here, you can click the publish button. There's a terrifying bug right there. I've downloaded someone else's world, that's what that Space Race thing is, and now I can publish it and apparently upload and overwrite it? Yikes, a little bit of a bug that definitely needs to be taken care of there. And then, of course, we have the OK and cancel, and also you'll notice that the open and workshop button at the bottom also doesn't work. It's a good update in theory, but a lot of stuff is real broken in it. Anyway, let's go ahead and select our race and load it up. Let's go ahead and actually set this to friends to make sure this works. And it's going to take a second, so I'm going to cut ahead to that, of course. Oh wow, that actually, I didn't cut. That was, yeah. Alright, that loaded quickly. At the top left, I believe you're supposed to see a description. This is always blank, even if the world has a description one currently, so no idea what that's up to. At the right, you can see Ectosage, that's my name. And it says that I'm currently a server, apparently. That's my status. Howdy do to you. Would you like a magic demon burger or something? I don't know. But anyway, that means that I'm host. Below that, if there are other people that joined, I can select them in the same spot and then click that lovely kick button. And the connection timeout isn't when you get a no message received from server for 3 minutes. That is something to do with when you start it up. Because if someone was to join me right now from the game's menu, they would actually get this screen, just as we see here, popped up, but they'd still actually be at the standard looping animated background of the menu screen. So it wouldn't, in theory, it's not supposed to actually join and download the world yet. So they can join a server and see what it says that the server's hosting in the description here, see the people in it, and decide if they want to play. And of course I can set this to a different time limit. Of course we also have our message area down here. Hello! There's not supposed to be a double U on the end of that. Halloween, I can't remember. Anyway, so you got that. Unfortunately, those do fade, which is very annoying to have those fade there. And you can't just press enter and get them back and scroll up and down. But let's go ahead and click start. And instantly we're presented with this screen. Now, usually if other people were in the map, when I click start there, I would have gotten a message in the middle of my screen saying, please wait 3 minutes for others to join. And the second everyone has joined, that message would just go away. But if someone was still joining after that 3-minute mark, they basically wouldn't be able to play. When they finally finished downloading the world, they would just be stuck in a spectator mode, basically, or even at this screen, but unable to select any respawn rooms. And I should say why would they not be able to load in? That's because when they're loading in, that's because they only start downloading the world once the host actually clicks that start button. When the host clicks the start button, that's when they download the world and the mods. So that's why there's that timer there. Alright, let's go ahead and select our respawn room here. You can see that because we had checked that other respawn thing, there's no other respawn points at all, no ships, no just body. And we're in our world, and we can go ahead and run our terrifyingly stupid little race. Are we... okay. Well, apparently I set something up wrong and I've lost. So this is one of the reasons why it's always advisable to test your own maps multiple times. Anyway, guys, that's it for this update. That's really just it. It's a pretty simple thing. Yeah. God, I don't know what to say. That's it. They did add another little thing where, can I build in this? No, we're in survival, unfortunately, because every time you go into, one of these scenario worlds and actually load it up as a scenario, it automatically switches it over to survival mode. But there is an option under Escape, Options, Graphics, Tone Mapping, and about all I found is that decreases the bloom and disables the glow you get around stuff, so I guess it ties in the bloom. In the actual patch notes, they say that there is, what did they actually call it? I'm trying to find it right now. An option to disable eye adaptation in the graphics options, but alas, I cannot find such a thing, no matter how hard I try. Alright guys, that's it for this update. It is pretty much nothing, but in the future it's going to be very, very useful when they add more functionality into setting all this stuff up. So I figured I should most definitely go over it, and I will point out that this is probably the 7th time I've recorded this video, so that's one of the reasons I sound so tired. And again, I will put up a video of one of my other recordings that I was more than unstable in because of all the times I've had to record this. A lot of crashes and issues with my system today. Alright guys, that's it. Once again, for probably the 4th or 3rd time, thank you a bunch for watching, and I shall see you guys next time. Ta-ta.